My name is Colleen Dahlmeyer, and my son Casey is a first grader at the Foundations program at Countryside. I'm sure you hear a lot of negativity throughout your day, but I'm here to tell you that my son is thriving in the Foundations program. Countryside is his home away from home, and he just loves it there. So I come here really tonight to let you know that I'm surprised that ESY has never been at Countryside, in particular at the Foundations program. I asked around, and it's never been there for at least 20 years. And it's really surprised as a parent because I would call my son probably one of your most complex learners. And it takes him a really, really long time to learn routines, learn his school environment, and he's very independent at Countryside, but when he goes to a different school, that's not the case. Another point I'm just making is that I understand that Countryside had construction last year, and that's why I couldn't house the ESY program there, because obviously of construction, but construction is finished, and I'm just wondering why. The parents raised over $500,000 to build an accessible playground for all students to enjoy, and what's summer without playing on a playground when you're 6 or 7 years old? The current school that's housing the ESY program for the foundation programs only has one bucket swing. There are many kids who are in wheelchairs, or like my son, who has balance issues, who can't use a regular playground. There's also wood chips, and my son's friends who are in wheelchairs, if you ever pushed a wheelchair in wood chips, it's not fun. And that's coming from the physical therapist in me. So I just really come here tonight for you guys to consider in the future, please, housing ESY at Countryside for students like my son, who is very familiar with the environment, all the physical equipment that needs to be transported back and forth, and the $500,000 playground that is his favorite thing in the entire world. My family travels there at least once a month just to play on the playground because it has the accessible zip line, which if you haven't been on it, I highly encourage you, because kids like my son, they don't get typical experiences like other kids get. They can't climb on playground structures. They can't swing on a normal swing, and it's a really injustice that you have this beautiful playground, but these kids can't use it. So please consider housing ESY at Countryside. Thank you. Yeah.
Next up is Joe Lazar.
My name is Joe Lazar. Brace yourself for a parent perspective you may not have heard yet about your library content. I'm a homeschooler, and unfortunately I've been forced to subsidize some of the books in your library, therefore I will speak. Book banning is an incoherent term in this context. No good parent doesn't place limits on their child. No school would take their children to a gun show or an adult bookstore or a pub. Gardeners don't place seedlings out in February. They nurture them until they're prepared for the harsh environment. Not one actual incidence of discrimination has been mentioned in any of your meetings. It's assumed that this is rampant and that sexually explicit content is the antidote. Parents have reported to you lewd acts being performed in bathrooms, videos being sent around the school, masturbation in classrooms. Not one of the board members that supports this material has said one word about their plight. These poor parents have been lectured that they must listen to the professionals. Has anyone consulted a professional about the impact of sexually explicit content on children? Has anyone considered that might perpetrate an increase in suicide rates? When did librarians become psychiatric specialists? Or is this just part of the advancement of your narrative? Mr. Altschuler, as a licensed pediatrician, I have to ask you, are you aware of the fact that the AAP strongly cautions against the dissemination of sexually explicit content to young children? Are you aware of that? Mrs. Chandang, are you aware of the fact that the children are acting out in videos being passed around the school, mimicking behavior in the books that you support? And isn't that a violation of your professed Christian beliefs? I have only one critique for many of the parents that will see this video. You've been far too passive. As of yesterday, a video was released exposing the attacks on the innocence of these precious children. You'll find that in the D220's family Facebook forum, and all of the information you need there to educate yourself on the upcoming election. And as for the 4 board members that support this material, the courts will not convict you of any crime. But on behalf of all of the God-fearing parents in this community, I find you guilty of the purposeful corruption of innocent children, a crime against humanity. You jackals deserve life imprisonment at the minimum, and may God have mercy on your souls. Good day.
Laura Davis.
Well, I'm actually here to thank Dr. Hunt. I'm Laura Davis. I have a son who graduated from District 220, and I am a community member, live in District 220. When I heard that Dr. Hunt was leaving, my reaction was first shock and sadness, but with reflection, I have loads of gratitude for everything that has been done for District 220 through your leadership. So I'm here to say thank you for your leadership, your vision, your integrity, and just your humanity. I appreciate your calm and your sense of humor, and our ability to continue moving District 220 forward. I value your real concern for all the students in District 220 and the care for all the professionals who work in this district. So thank you and best of luck to you and your family in your upcoming move.
Saida Medani. Please help me. Sayeda. Thank you.
My name is Sayeda. I'm a parent of 4 kids. My oldest goes to Prairie. I have 2 at Rose and an incoming kindergartner. The reason I'm coming here today is I just want to bring to the board's attention the concern of some of the parents at Rose that our class sizes are increasing. We average about 52 to 60 kids per grade, and in some grades we have 3 classes, so that works out just fine. But I was very surprised to see that at some grade levels we dropped down to only 2 classes, which then leads to overcrowded classrooms, which, as you know, makes it difficult for the educators to really get to know the kids and provide them with personalized education. I wanted to come here today, and I'm hoping that we can address this for the next school year. It would be nice if we could get 3 classrooms in every grade. The problem is that Rose has completely run out of space. We don't physically have the space. And so if there was any plan in place to maybe for like a mobile classroom or even construction down the line, just to help the needs of this growing population, because I think Barrington is really starting to turn over with younger families moving in. So that's why I came here. Okay, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Next up, we have Namarda Shah.
Hi everyone, my name is Nimrata Shah and I'm a parent of 2 young boys. I have a 4th grader at Rose and a 3rd grader at Rose. And my concern is similar to what Saida just mentioned about class sizes at Rose. I will specifically talk about my current 4th grader. They have a class size of 28 kids, out of which there are 19 boys. And you can imagine 19 10-year-old boys being handled by one teacher can become too much for any educator. That being said, both the sections at for 4th grade in Rose have 28, 29 kids. There's no aid, no extra help that the teachers get. And especially these kids are coming out of COVID. I know we've used COVID as an excuse, but I still feel that kids are struggling at some level, and they are facing the consequences of what the COVID year was. And they're still struggling to come to terms for a normal academic year. So my concern is that going forward for next year, what are the steps that can be taken specifically at Rose for 3rd grade and 4th grade, because we have a very large incoming 4th grade class too next year. I have a 3rd grader, and there are so many new families that are moving in. So either aids or mobile classrooms like Saida mentioned, but there has to be some step that needs to be taken to address this issue. because I feel like learning at some level is being disrupted. I can imagine that basic discipline is where the time goes for most teachers, I assume, because it's hard to handle so many kids. That's all. Thank you.
So that concludes our public comment.